Hi, my name is Krista and I'm founder of CEO from Doctors into Light Resources. We provide hope, inspiration, education, and resources to those who have mental illnesses and their family and friends. Today we have Judi here with us. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
So she is a licensed marriage and family therapist and a registered yoga teacher. She uses integrative talk therapy techniques with a mind, body, spirit approach to promote holistic health and wellness for individuals. This approach includes mental health interventions, mindfulness, meditation, breathwork, and yoga skills. So let's dig in and start with what is an integrative mental health therapy?
So, integrative can be used to describe any type of practice of anything, but specifically, integrative mental health therapy is using multiple theoretical approaches to therapy and different modalities of how to help people feel better in mental health therapy sessions. So it can mean a lot of things. Integrative doesn't describe all of the different things that we're integrating into therapy, but for me it's the integration of yoga and psychotherapy into one practice.
Great. So how does yoga affect a person's mental health?
I love this question because first I want to describe the definition of yoga.
Okay.
It's a Sanskrit word that means union or to yoke. So here in the West, we've come to understand that as union of mind and body. So in terms of how yoga can help mental health, it's the mind-body connection that research is continuing to prove is super effective in treating mental health and physical health issues. And it allows people to feel better with actual practices and skills and even a philosophy or approach to life that can feel a lot more supportive or non-judgmental, accepting, unconditionally positive than a lot of other types of practices.
Okay. So how do you put yoga into your practice as a therapist?
I do lots of different things in terms of integrating yoga, and one of the important things to understand about yoga, which we've talked about already, but for everybody else, a traditional yoga practice includes 8 limbs, which includes meditation, mindfulness, self-reflection, the ability to focus and concentrate, and breath work, and physical poses is only 1/8 of that traditional practice. So in terms of the misconceptions about what yoga means, especially in psychotherapy, it oftentimes does not mean that we're on the floor on our mats rolling around doing crazy poses. It's much more about being aware of the breath and being present in the body and knowing when a trigger comes up, not just what happens here, but what happens here. And that's how I integrate it in a regular yoga session, is by using the body as a messaging system with the mind of what's coming up for someone, of what's going on, where do we need to address where the anxiety is living in the body. And in a group setting, I'm able to go through the different limbs of yoga, the different types of practices. I also do those individually on one-on-one sessions. And that's when we're really able to explore the different practices that can help mental and physical health within this mind-body connection.
Great. So what is mindfulness and meditation?
Loaded question, my friend. So that could take hours to describe.
Like a simple.
Yep.
Yep.
So a summary, mindfulness is the practice of becoming aware. And it's become a really big buzzword these days. Like, people reference mindfulness in all kinds of different practices or work environments even. In general, what it means is being present and aware. That's about as simply as I can describe it. And meditation is a specific type of practice of learning how to be able to be mindful and be present. And there are as many different types of meditation practices as there are styles of yoga or different ways to work out at the gym. It's super diverse and hard to pinpoint just one type of practice because meditation can encompass so many different things. But in general, the point of meditation is to have that mindfulness and be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, the physical sensations, the noises around you, the environment you're in, without getting lost in the thought or feeling of what that triggers in you. So sometimes we can call that co-consciousness. It's the ability of being aware and present to everything arising in us.
Yep. Great. So how does these improve your mental health?
Well, the West, of course, is starting to scientifically prove all of the ways that this has helped. For thousands of years, ancient Indians practicing yoga have known it helps.
Okay.
But there are a lot of new research studies specifically about meditation, how it increases gray matter in the brain, which improves creativity, the ability to focus, the ability to counteract mental health issues like depression and anxiety and stress responses. And in addition to how powerful daily meditation practice can be, yoga and the practice of being in our body and creating fluidity and freedom in our movement and releasing any of those energetic obstacles as well as mental or physical obstacles can really help our physical health. And of course, when we feel better physically or have a better relationship to our body, our mental health improves.
Yep.
So it's all really correlated there.
Okay. How can yoga help a person who has experienced trauma?
Anybody that's experienced trauma has two components of the way that it's stored in our body. And even the way I answer that question gives the answer away. It's in our body as much as it's also in our mind.
Okay.
So traditional talk therapy is much more about what's happening here. So being able to talk about, this is what happened, this is my story, these are the details, this is how I felt. But we're still just talking about it. We're still in the headspace of this was my experience. The yoga component or the mind-body awareness with trauma is actually being in the body, actually feeling the feeling and being able to describe it hurts here, or this sensation is arising, or it's becoming hard to breathe, or my stomach is clenching. And there are lots of different approaches or modalities like that integrative summary. There's EMDR, which is eye desensitization. That can be one way to move through trauma. There's somatic approaches to psychology and therapy where we use imagery and describe the senses almost like a story that's separate from the narrative story of trauma itself. It helps us kind of get out of this and into this. And yoga, of course, is another example, and that's the integrative approach that I take, being aware of the body and knowing that the cells of our body store trauma in addition to what's stored in our memory bank.
Yep.
So when we use the movements, the breath, the mindfulness, the self-reflection of what's coming up, that helps move through the trauma in a way differently than just talking about it, which is also helpful. Don't get me wrong, but it's only part of the practice.
And just for just from my own experience, for the readers out there, that exposure therapy has really helped me with my trauma as well. So how is body image addressed in yoga psychotherapy?
Well, when we're talking about any type of body practice, it's implicit that we're going to have to address body image issues because that comes up. So in the group yoga psychotherapy sessions, the most common way that body image issues comes up or is addressed is by noticing how much of an external focus we have on what other people look like in the poses, or wow, he's so much stronger than I, or wow, look at how flexible she is, I can't do that. And that oftentimes then triggers that internalized fear or shame or judgment or comparison. And so a lot of the prompts that I offer and recommendations and how to counteract that is to bring awareness to it. Meet your body where you're at, accept what's coming up for you, learn to love and take care of and meet the needs that your body is calling to your mind to receive. And that creates an internal focus based on feeling good, rather than the external focus that usually is contributed to the body image issues of worrying, what do other people think, what are other people saying, how can I compare myself either better than or less than how other people look. It's letting go of that dualistic thinking outside of ourselves and coming in here.
So, lastly, how would you teach someone about breathwork? And let's go through an example.
Yeah. So there are tons of different breathing exercises that people use in regular therapy sessions or ancient yoga breathing exercises that we can incorporate. But the way that I think about using any type of yoga practice, and this is where it gets back into the integration, is what's most helpful for you. And so when I'm working with clients, I really make sure that we're using the skills that are going to be most relevant or applicable for them. It's not just me picking a random one and saying, here, do this.
Yep.
It's really tailoring it to, if we're depressed and have low energy, then let's use one that's going to help build energy.
Yep.
Or if we're really anxious and feeling like there's an excess of energy, let's do one that's going to help us release that.
Yep.
So it's really trying to tailor it to each individual. And in a group setting, just focusing on different themes. So we can learn all of those things over time to be able to apply them. So in terms of a breathing exercise that you would like to do today, do you want to do one that's maybe more based on building energy or on releasing extra energy?
What about releasing extra energy?
Okay. So we'll take more of that approach to the breathing exercise, and I'll ask that you get really comfortable in your chair, plant your feet firmly on the ground. Hands can rest comfortably on the lap. We lengthen the spine, creating space between the vertebrae, the shoulders resting down and back. And if it's comfortable, closing the eyes or taking a soft gaze down towards the floor. And start to become aware of the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice the inhale and exhale coming through your nose. Notice any parts of your body that may be tight or resisting the breath. And on the inhale, bring awareness and attention to those parts of the body. And on the exhale, give them permission to relax. Bringing your awareness back to the breath. We're going to bring our right hand onto our upper belly, our left hand onto our chest. And notice which hand is moving more with the natural rhythm of the breath. For most of us, it's going to be the left hand over the lungs. Naturally, we learn as children to breathe very shallow. It can contribute to anxiety and stress, not having enough oxygen in our body. So this practice, we're going to do diaphragmatic breathing, intentionally pushing that right hand out, filling the diaphragm with air. And then exhale, bringing that diaphragm in. It's almost like sucking the belly in towards the spine. Noticing the right hand moving more than the left, filling that belly with air. And exhale, allowing it to release fully all the air out. Going at your own pace. And now we add a count. So we're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. Filling that diaphragm on the inhale. And exhale, slow release. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing the hands back down to the lap, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Scanning the body for any shifts that may have occurred. Becoming aware of any thoughts, stories, comments in the mind. Maintaining that connection, that awareness to the breath. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes bring any movement back into the body. That may feel good after being so still for a little while. Yeah. And how do you feel now?
Great. It actually decreased my back pain.
Awesome.
So that's great. So thank you so much
Good.
for that great example and
You're
your
very welcome.
time today. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel to find some other videos with other health professionals. Thank you. Have a great day.